It's 7:40. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you are watching First Warning Live, where we focus on all things weather, and because we get hungry from time to time, we're sponsored by Marco's Pizza, which, by the way, been very generous by giving away free pizza, but they've got an awesome deal of the week, which I'll get to in just a few moments. I want to talk about what's coming our way. Yes, warmer air will be here tomorrow. I know we've been in the 40s the last couple of days, but yes, some rain will be arriving Thursday into Friday. More on that in just a moment. I want to show you the radar because we have had these clouds kind of gather up. Now they're thinning out. But if I zoom back out, there's more reinforcements for cloud cover over places like Charleston, West Virginia, Huntington, West Virginia, Portsmouth, Ohio, Lexington, Kentucky. There are clouds over Roanoke, but some of that's going to be moving back in while we sleep. So by 2 a.m., it should be overcast everywhere. But the good news is, and I've highlighted some of this with the arrows, there's some warmer air coming in from the southwest. So we're optimistic that tomorrow will be well into the 50s. You say 50s? Man, that sounds balmy. It is compared to where we hit 43 today in Norfolk and Virginia Beach. It was 42 yesterday. So depending on where you are, and I'm really glad that you're here, depending on where you are, you probably will welcome the idea of us getting into the 50s. And that's where we'll be tomorrow afternoon. So the warm air is going to come in here. We're going to have gusts, I think, 30, 35. But let me break this down for us in terms of the positioning of this system. There has been some adjustments from yesterday. As typically was described to me from an NC State professor, tracking a warm front, very unreliable, right? Though cold fronts are easier to time because of the serpentine look of these warm fronts. They can move up and down, and they can also be persuaded by a very large high over New England to push it further south. So the trend for Thursday, Friday is to push the heavier rain to North Carolina. So let me show you what that looks like graphically on one of the models. Clearly, we're going to get some rain here. There's 5 p.m. on Thursday. It's going to come into the 757. But watch what happens as I put this forward in motion. By 6 o'clock Friday morning, it's now moving toward Myrtle Beach, toward Wrightsville Beach, toward Wilmington, toward Morehead City. Some areas in southeastern North Carolina will get the lion's share of the rain because it could very well taper off here as we head into Friday. So bottom line is, it's still going to rain Thursday into Friday. It's just the output is not as lofty as what we were seeing in the data yesterday. Yesterday we were about an inch, inch and a half. I think we'll be lucky to get a half inch now based on the track of this low, which is again moving across more South Carolina than it is North Carolina. So I'll put this in motion a little bit more. There's 1 o'clock Friday. There'll still be some showers, and I think it will slice across the area. But again, heavier rains, quote unquote, will be probably across the Carolinas. Here's a futurecast that illustrates this to the point of the clouds increasing. They don't look like they're there at 11 tonight. But boy, if I just move this 3 hours forward, stop it at 2 a.m. tonight, tomorrow morning, it looks pretty overcast, right? Everybody's got clouds, and that's one thing I think we'll see in the overnight period. So if you're not dealing with cloud cover now, good chance you will in the overnight period, because I think we'll have a gray start to Wednesday. There might be some thin spots here over Edenton or Chowan County, maybe toward Perquimans County. But 7 a.m., there's some snowflakes up here, and maybe a hit or miss sprinkle here. I was leaning toward 10%. We could just keep it 20% chance. Then we get a little spot shower. This one's here at 8 o'clock. It's probably not far from the Isle of Wight. Maybe one off the eastern shore. So if you get a sprinkle tomorrow morning, don't be surprised. No reason to call the weatherman and say, you blew it. Now, I don't think we're going to blow it. I just don't think it's that widespread. The winds, though, that's out of the southwest. That may catch your attention. I think it's about 10 to 20 for a good part of tomorrow. And having said that, watch what happens as we move to midday. There are no more drops, no more flakes on this image, but there might be a few thin spots in the cloud cover because there's a little bit of clearing back here. I think there'll be a little bit more based on other models that I see. This is just the graph model, but given the fact that I think we'll get into the 50s tomorrow, that'll be a welcome sight for sure. Just want to remind you that if you're looking for something to eat tonight and you want to save some money, I mean some serious money, half off the pizza. Who's heard of half off pizza? You know, you get the whole pizza, but you get it half off. See how that works? You just have to use the promo code which is our TV call letters WTKR 50, in the checkout at marcos.com. And you don't have to stop at a pizza, right? You could choose anything of these 6 stores on your screen, 3 in Virginia Beach, 2 in Chesapeake, 1 in Norfolk. On Thursday, we're giving away free pizza. So, what a week this is. You either get half off the pizza or you get 100% off the pizza. That's a deal, almost a steal. But I want to highlight the generosity of our friends at Marcos, because they don't have to do this. They do issue a pizza for a year certificate. 1 individual, randomly selected, will be announced on Thursday for 1 topping, 1 large pizza. Every month, for free, you could put this potentially under a magnet on your refrigerator. You'll get 1 in March, 1 in April, right through December of 2026, and you can use it like a punch card, January, February of 2027. And your name would go up here, and we'll announce those winners. As you can see on the bottom of the red there, we'll announce that 1 lucky winner on Thursday of this week. But do want to mention again, if you haven't tried Marcos, may I recommend a Pozzoli? I love it. It's like a calzone or a stromboli. The pepperoni and sausage is my personal favorite, but you get all this stuff. 50% off, half off their pizza, and it is a First Warning Live exclusive to use that to satisfy your appetite. You might want something like a big cheese or a chicken fresco. Maybe you want some subs, pizza bowls, salads, a dessert, maybe a Cinesquare. They got those too. They got even subs, so I would recommend you to check out their menu. If you like subs, they've got a great meatball sub, but they also have these great chocolate Cinesquares that I've newly discovered. I had tried the Cinesquares, but I had never tried the chocolate until about a week and a half ago. And now I have a new dessert at Marcos. So there you go. All right, getting back to the weather, I want to say hi to you and come back on camera because I know yesterday I was having some technical difficulties. I think I've got them resolved tonight. So if you have, and I'll put them in the first, feel free, this is me, feel free to leave a comment, right? And I'll do my best to put it on the screen. Now, last night, I had David Marshall trying to put this, he's trying to write the course of this path of the live stream. He says, please, let's talk about spring, no more snow. And he's got the laughing emoji. So I think he was kind of joking. But we'll kind of recap some interesting things I learned today from the National Weather Service that might blow your mind, even if you're not a weather nerd. Even if you're not a weather nerd, what I'm about to share with you coming up may actually impress you, what we experienced just a couple of days ago. But in the meantime, I'm going to import some new comments on my screen. I do see that I have that potential because yesterday I was having some technical difficulties. I think I've got that resolved. So let me go ahead and import those comments while I speak here with you, and we'll see if we can get those in on this screen. Maybe I get that coming up here in just a moment. See if we hit refresh, because sometimes when it buffers, it takes just a few moments. And I do see I got Taj Brown. He has said something to me that I have not heard even so much a peep, at least not yet on air, but maybe that'll change. Let me see if I get this back on here. I know it's in here. I know that they're consistently in there. Let me just hit the refresh, and there it comes. Oh, 10 comments. So they're going to populate. I have a confidence. There they are. So Taj Brown is wishing me a landmark. Today is my first 1-year anniversary here at Scripps and at WTKR. 1 year ago today, I walked into this building. There was a lot of melancholy for 2 reasons. I won't go all into the details. One was the snowstorm that had happened on the 19th. But then we had this tragedy with the 2 police officers in Virginia Beach that were tragically killed. And so when I walked in here, there were a lot of people kind of like, they're really kind of depressed. And they said, oh, and Patrick Rocky's leaving us. Oh, everybody was just kind of, I'm like, hey, I'm the new guy. So it was a bit difficult. I won't lie to you. It was a bit difficult, but I am glad I'm here because some of the things that I've learned here have been amazing. The people here are absolutely fantastic. And if you watch us on a regular basis, whether it be the journey that Blaine Stewart's gone through or the prostate cancer journey that Kurt Williams has gone through, there's a lot of resilience here, and it's very inspiring. And it doesn't take much TV viewing to take away from some of these stories from our own Beverly Kidd, everything that's noted about uniquely Hampton Roads. There's just so many great stories. I can't even begin to tell you, but I do want to thank Taj for remembering that today is in fact my anniversary. So glad to have Taj here. He's also given me the power up stars. Love it. Thank you, Taj. Also Amber, he's also saying congratulations. News 3, lucky to have you. I'm blessed by every one of you watching. I mean, I don't know everybody by name, but I like to put everybody I can on the screen in the allotted time that I have. And since that is precious, it is 7:49. Let's keep moving through Wednesday night. Tomorrow night at this time, we, as a group, will be getting ready for some showers. Now, will it be as heavy as what we had Sunday? Not a chance. We will get some rain, nothing like what we had on Sunday, because Sunday was over an inch, 1.66 to be precise. Over an inch and a half fell on Sunday before it changed to snow. But this is not a worry. This is not a precipitation type challenge. It's just drops. Right? There's Franklin. I'm looking at Ahoskie. I'm looking at Elizabeth City. And if you notice, by 7 a.m. Thursday, the rain has the potential to get up toward Williamsburg, maybe stopping short of Matthews, Middlesex, and maybe just brushing parts of the eastern shore. But you can clearly see the new trend from both the graph and the European model puts it around Duck or Elizabeth City or back toward Manteo or Dare County. So be on the lookout that as you start your Thursday, that could be the soggiest time frame of them all. Because if I move it to the next couple of hours, by 11 a.m., it's beginning to wind down. There's more dry weather here. It's still cloudy. It's dry weather here, still cloudy. And the showers parade on across northeast North Carolina. Then the showers come back, it would appear, at 2 o'clock on Thursday. So we have more scattered showers that do make it up toward Williamsburg or maybe just south of Exmoor. But the trend is to keep most of the heavier rain down across Duck, also Wanchese and Roanoke Island and Manteo. So that's where we think the bulk of the rain will ultimately fall. And so as we look at 11 o'clock Thursday night, looks like it's done. And the quicker it gets in here, the quicker it's going to get out of here, especially since the trend pushes it south. Now, I mentioned there was a stray shower potentially by tomorrow. This model's not going to necessarily see it all, but it paints a little paint bomb around Salisbury and maybe around Chincoteague. But once we go into Thursday, yeah, we get something, but it's certainly not as impressive on the same model. Compare apples to apples. Yesterday's Euro had probably about an inch and a half around the south side by Friday, and there's no way near that, right? It's like a tenth. It's a big drop in expectations. Maybe a little more than a half inch for the Outer Banks, but like I said, this is trending further north, trending south because of the northerly high that's developing across New England. You get about a 1030 high pressure pushing over Maine, and it's going to help push that storm further south. So we'll get some rain, but we're not going to get maybe quite the output that we had before. Another look at this is the rainfall potential. Notice it's maybe a stray shower on the Euro, one little drop in central North Carolina. Then it fills in on Thursday. That stops us at 5 p.m. Thursday. Then we add a little bit more Thursday night. And you can see about the totals there, about a half inch for Edenton, very little for Norfolk. And if this were to verify drop for drop, you'd be looking at about a quarter inch for Cape Charles and Emporia. Just checking in with you. I want to say hi. I'm looking at some of the comments. I'm kind of perusing them all. Gloria says hello and happy anniversary. Thank you very much, Gloria. It's great to be here. I have some great stories that I have acquired. We didn't start live streaming with our sponsor Marcos until May. But my mindset was, hey, wouldn't it be kind of cool? Because I used to do quite a bit of this on my own when I was still in Tennessee. And so that's why you'll see, on occasion, some Tennessee followers who are leaving comments, Marilyn Bell being one of them. But there have been many others who've been very supportive as I've left Tennessee market and coming into Hampton Roads, Northeast North Carolina. Vanessa also being sweet. Thank you, Vanessa. Happy first anniversary. Glad to be here. And Kim Thompson-Jones wanting to wish everybody a good evening. I'm going to keep moving because I want to talk about something that, even if you're not a weather nerd, the curiosity got me. I thought, you know what? We had something that happened over the weekend, Sunday into Monday, where everybody in the country has been talking about this big blizzard, right? The big storm that is behind me. And I'm going to put this on full screen. Every red dot on this screen, and this isn't even the mind-blowing part, although it is mind-blowing. Anything that's red or burgundy or really burgundy is about 18 to 36 inches of snow, right? Look at all these dots from Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Now, granted, we had 11 inches in Wallops Island, but even 11 inches, based on what they had on some other spots, was paltry. Like I would argue the epicenter was probably Rhode Island. And how much snow do they get in Rhode Island, Aldrich? How about 37, not inches, yes, 37.9 inches of snow. That's actually over the airport. So it's not some, guy in a backyard with his ruler. I think I got 37.9. No, this is the official number from the airport observer who's at the TF Green Airport International Airport in Rhode Island. 37.9. Now, to put that into context, that's 3.1 feet, right? I don't know how tall you are, but how high would 3.1 feet come on you? Probably pretty high. Now, that's the big story nationally, and it should be. But I just thought, what people will remember when they think of February 2026, they're going to invariably remember this storm. For the reasons, if not for that storm, or the amounts, just these red dots, right? New York City, they're talking top 10 biggest snows. But even the 11 inches in Wallops Island, you might have considered was shrapnel compared to the 38 inches, roughly, 38 inches of snow they had over the airport there in Rhode Island. I just find that fascinating. Maybe you do too. Now, what makes our story pretty unique, and granted, 11 inches is nothing to sneeze at, but, if you multiply that by 3, you don't even get quite up to, that's 33 inches. You're not even up to what they had in Rhode Island. But officially 1.4 here. The reason I wanted you to put this into context, why I think I'm going to remember this, is the fact that we broke a daily rainfall record and a daily snowfall record on Sunday. Now, I mentioned this yesterday. I was kind of challenged by my technical issues because I'm interested to know what you think. But I wanted to know from the National Weather Service, how often has this happened? Out of 155 years, going back to 1871, think about it, that's what we have in Norfolk. We have a very awesome weather record, like having an analog, right? We can go back to 1871, whether you say it's that reliable or not, I would say it's very reliable. For those that take the measurements, the fact that we got 1.66 broke a record from 1892. That was back when Benjamin Harrison was president. The guy between the two Grover Cleveland terms, Benjamin Harrison, that guy, 134 years, took that out. Jimmy Carter, 1978, that took that out. The fact that we broke 2 has only happened, are you ready? 5 other times. Out of 155 years, that's it. I didn't learn that till today because I asked the National Weather Service. I said, please tell me, how often has this happened? It's only happened 6 times if you count last Sunday. That's why I said this is mind-blowing. The other dates are on your screen there. It was actually, the last time we did it was 37 years ago today. Isn't today February 24th? It is February 24th, but it's not 1989. If you subtract in a little fast time machine in a DeLorean like Back to the Future, if you go back to 1989, that was 37 years ago. That was today's date. We had a record snowfall and rainfall broken on the same day. And the other dates are here, 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 and here. I just find that amazing. Now, conversely, you're not going to find, and I'd be hard-pressed to find anywhere in the country where you actually have a record high and a record low in the same day broken. You probably would have to have, 75 at midnight, and then just race it. You'd have to have so much energy from the jet. But anyway, the fact that it rained a lot and then it snowed a lot, some of these could be reversed. I have to go back and look, because it could have snowed first and then it rained on some of these other dates. But if that is interesting to you, even a gee whiz, it wasn't 38 inches of snow in Rhode Island, but it was a record high or record snowfall, record rainfall, all in the same day. Pretty remarkable. Haven't done it in 37 years. Checking in with you. I want to say hi to you. Let's see here. Patrick Kelly has a great question. Kind of puts this back into perspective. David, when is the last frost in Virginia Beach? When can I plant my garden? Patrick, I don't have that recall. And you know what's funny? I immediately thought of Knoxville, only because I'd worked there 15 years, and so I could rattle off that date. But give me some time. I'll have that answer for you tomorrow, because I don't want to mislead you. But I do know that we're getting closer, right? Once we get into the growing season, and people are very sensitive, they want to get their lawns manicured, they want maybe their vegetable garden planted at some point. But I'll put me on that task, Patrick, and I will get you that answer first thing tomorrow night's live stream. So thank you for that. Keep me accountable on that. In the meantime, good to have everybody here. I got some other notes from Ambler and Amanda. Amanda is also here. She's Amanda Harper. Hello, Amanda. She says, happy first year anniversary. It's been a fast year. Time flies. It really does, and I'm really happy to be able to share some of this great information with you because I was curious. And the fact that now we've had 6 out of 155 years, 6 times to break a daily rainfall and snowfall record. And for those of you that are curious, every day of the calendar, 365 years, 65 days of a year has a record high, record low. and a rainfall record and a snowfall record. So the fact that they were both broken in the same day is pretty rare. All right, current conditions at 7:59. This is roughly the 8 o'clock numbers. We have a very light wind, as you can see. It's just 5 miles an hour. This is a live look over the Chesapeake Bay, but it feels colder, David. I know, it feels like 31, even though the south side right now is at 35 temperature-wise. If you look at the 4 cameras, there may be some breaks in the cloud cover, maybe actually maybe some stars over Norfolk or Chesapeake Bay. We looked at the satellite image just a moment ago, but this morning, didn't quite get to 27 everywhere. That's what I was expecting. Chesapeake got to 27, but Norfolk just dropped below freezing briefly at 6:59 a.m. according to the airport numbers. So the airport numbers, 6:59 occurred for the low. Suffolk fell to 28. It was 28 in Franklin, but our high temperature did manage to make it to, let's see if I can get the clock moving. Oh, I know what I did here. I wanted to animate it. Let's just go ahead and animate it. So we went from 31 and then we bounced all the way up to about 3 o'clock. I believe we finished at 43 degrees. Yep, we did. 43 in Norfolk, 43 in Virginia Beach. These are pretty chilly, right? Because the normal high is in the mid-50s. It's not where we should be, but it is where we typically are because that's based on a 30-year average. So it's unusually chilly. And I would argue that we are this chilly for one reason and one reason only, and that's because of the storm. The winter storm that moved up the coast really brought down the cold air for 2 days. So this is kind of like the afterburn, the after effect, 43. But we're going back to 56 tomorrow. That's my expectation. As it is now 8:01, I can share with you the current readings because the temperatures are taken at the top of every hour. It is now freezing in Chesapeake. It's 38 in Hampton. We have 34 Newport News. A shout out to you in Virginia Beach. You're at 34. Kind of cool, and given the fact that clouds might be thinning, there could be a little more wiggle room to drop into the low to mid 30s. It's 28 in Emporia, one of the colder numbers. Edenton's 41, while it's 40 in Williamsburg and Surrey. Our friends in Smithfield at 34. Now you can clearly see where this cold air is pouring down, and the origins does affect areas around Canada, but we did reach 43 today. The record high was set back in 2012 when it was 82 degrees. So if you look at this, it's hard to believe we only have 1, 2, actually let me try this differently. I like doing this. This is sometimes fun. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 days left of February. That's it. 4 days left of February, and then we're going to move on to March. Can you believe March 1st is in fact Sunday, and a week later, I know some of you are waiting, but we're going to change the clocks again. Boo! Change the clocks, change the clock. That'll be like around the 8th. I guess it is the 7th or 8th. It'll be the next weekend. Won't be long, and some will complain that we have to lose an hour, and can we stop this nonsense? It happens every year. I like it falling back, but I'm not a fan of springing forward, so I've always maintained, and my Tennessee audience can refer to me. I've said this for years. Just split the difference, move it a half hour, and leave it alone. But nobody listens to me. They say that would mess up all the records. I don't know if it would, but it would certainly make this conversation go away where we wouldn't have to constantly move the clocks. If we just split the difference. Compromise, right? Makes sense to me, but not everybody makes sense of that. Wednesday's planner tomorrow, a few drops. Possibility 49. Oops, I got the big one on there. I go back to my telestrator. 49 by noon tomorrow. I think winds could easily gust 25, 30, maybe as high as 35, but it will be milder. I expect a little more sunny breaks by 4 o'clock and 56 degrees. Isn't that nice? I think 56 would be a welcome sight. Glad to have you all here. Rita has a comment. Let me put Rita on the screen. She says Mississippi had a low of 25, and today's high was 73. That's winter in the South. I 100% agree with you. And it's amazing because even though that storm was moving up toward Nova Scotia, it was still snowing in West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio, even Tennessee last night, as the wraparound and lake effect also had a little bit of legs to work its way down the Ohio Valley. So stranger things have happened. But Rita, thank you for that observation. And I really want to give you kudos because, see, she's using the picture that Facebook provides. But see, I'm able to see her smiling face. So Rita, thank you so much for watching. And whether you watch live or on delay, I do appreciate all of your time. I appreciate everybody's input as well as time that you put toward watching these live streams. Because again, I like to give you the information as best I can see it. I think tomorrow is at least a 13-degree bump in temperature. It was 43 today, 56 tomorrow. All right, time for some weather trivia. I want to give props to meteorologist Tony Nargi, who had a question for Blaine Stewart at the 12 noon newscast today. What type of precipitation is made of partially melted snowflakes coated with rime? Now, as Blaine Stewart noted, he was like, you mean like hip-hop, that kind of rime? No, that's not the kind of rime this is. This is like accretion, rime. You know, a good way to explain it. It's kind of like, I might be giving away the answer, but it's kind of like when you take a small snowball and you roll it in the snow. What happens to that snowball is you roll it, roll it, roll it, it gets bigger, right? So it gets bigger. So the accretion, the rhyming process changes perhaps the output of what comes from the sky. But my question to you is A, B, or C. Are we talking about hail, graupel, or sleet? Now, I know what some of you are thinking. I don't even know what graupel is. Sounds like a breakfast cereal. No, put the graupel away. Or it sounds like something a condition you have with a podiatrist on your foot. I've got some terrible case of graupel. No, that's not it. But hail, graupel, or sleet, 3 options. Is it A, B, or C? I'm kind of curious to know what you think. Kim is quick she knows how to play this game. She's going B. She's saying it's graupel, and she's absolutely right. It is graupel. I've been to many a school visits over my 27 years of doing this, and many school teachers fail to recognize, they don't understand that graupel represents snow pellets. So if you have to put it in simplest terms, hail comes down in stones, graupel comes down as snow pellets, but sleet comes down as ice pellets. You like that? Ice pellets, snow pellets, hailstones. We know what hailstones will do to your car. The bigger it is, the bigger the bill. So we don't want hailstones when it's really large. You know, get my car in the garage, get it in the carport somewhere. You don't want hailstones hitting your car. But when graupel hits your car, and I would see a lot of it when I was in Rochester, you'll usually find it in the fall around Great Lakes, regions downwind like Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse. The graupel, it's the ugliest snowflake. And you're looking at it like, ew, what is that? It almost looks like Dippin' Dots. You know what Dippin' Dots? Now we're on the same page. That's the ugly snowflake. That is snow pellets. That is graupel. So now you're smarter for it. And if you knew that answer, congratulations, because some of you are like, yes, I'm 2 for 2 this week. I know Taj, he never gets them wrong. Wink, wink. All right, Norfolk, normal rainfall is 2.90. I do know for a fact that we are above average on rainfall this month because of the Sunday storm. Because of the Sunday storm, we now have at this moment precisely 5.36 is since the year began. That includes January. But for February, we're at 3.54. So just to give this some visuals, 3.54 is what we have so far. So even though February typically is the driest month of the year on a 30-year average, we're well exceeding that by more than a half inch simply because of the rain that we had last Sunday. And the snow too, because the melted snow, that goes into the total as well. Typically the biggest or soggiest months are July and August because of those summer thunderstorms. But if you're in the growing season, and I want to point back to Patrick's comment because he was asking about when's the last frost. If you're a gardener, if you're a landscaper, you're someone with a green thumb, you kind of want the growing season to get off to a good start, right? You don't want a drought. I do know that we ended 2025 over 6.5 inches below normal. Below normal, ending 2025 on a dry note. So the rain that we've had so far in the last 6 weeks, maybe even 8 weeks, is beneficial, no doubt. I got an okay, sounds good. Patrick, thank you for your patience. I'll get you all that information. And I might even have some visual aids for us, because I like to go the extra mile. I'll do you right tomorrow. I'll get you that information. But as far as our dryness, this is what I find interesting on the cold. I kind of surprised Kurt that we may not be done with some snowflakes. I do have some flurries in the forecast for Monday. Don't panic, it's not going to be anything like what we saw. But this is something that if you watch the temperatures bounce, the bouncy bounce that we're seeing in purple from the Arctic air will continue to move toward Maine and Nova Scotia. So let me put this further on. This just says that there's no consistency this time of year. It's February going into March. There's no consistency. What's the old saying? In like a lion, out like a lamb, something like that. I mean, there is elements that this is going to continue to move in the direction of here. Right? It's going to affect New England, but we're down here. And that's not to say we couldn't get some warm days, we will. But with the Gulf open for business, we're going to get severe weather, I think, in places like Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Ohio. These places are going to continue, as I come back on camera and reboot, we're going to continue to see, I think, more severe weather right out of the jump, right? We're not going to wait until late March or into April. We'll probably have periods of it going on and on throughout the time frame, because there's going to be a lot of cold air. When you get that clash of cold and warm air, you get tornado outbreaks, right? You've got some really cold air dropping down, and you got some real humid air dropping up, moving up. So when they come together, there's going to be that issue. And I wanted to show you the latest map from our about 10, 11 miles up. This is the 70 millibar temperature analysis, and it does suggest there is some warm air that's rising, and cold air will sink about 30 days from now, but it continues to move in the contouring of the colors in this fashion. So I think we're going to be okay. I think the worst of winter is over. I'm not afraid to say that. I don't think that we couldn't rule out that we couldn't get a cold night. We will. We got one tonight. We got maybe some cold days in the next week or two. But this pattern would continue to push the James Bay cold air in the direction of Nova Scotia and Maine. That's the way it would suggest. And I was showing you here. I think this is probably a better map to show you. This is today's observation, the 24th. But you'll continue to bring in more humidity from the Gulf and more of this cold air. It says it's obviously warm air, but warm air rises, cold air sinks. This is like a 30-day trend. This would take you to about the March 24th period. So the third week in March, the trend will continue to push some cold air here, and I think it'll be game on for severe weather by mid to late March, the way things are shaping up. All right, it is now 8:11. I want to check in with some of the comments that you have. I do like to do the weather headlines now, because there might be those of you that joined us late. So if you joined us in progress, no harm, no foul. I have increasing clouds tonight, gray start on Wednesday, warmer air arrives tomorrow. We should be in the mid-50s. And then some showers Thursday and Friday are possible, but now it's less than a half inch. Half inch would be generous. Some of you might only get a tenth or a quarter inch the way things are shaping up right now. I got a note from Kim saying hello. She says, thanks for helping me. Blaine, Stewart, and Tony. Well, you got the question right. You got the Grapple answer right, so spot on. Taj, you didn't get this one right. What happened? He said C. C would have been sleet. No, that's icy pellets. Grapple represents snow pellets. So if you ever had Dippin' Dots, I know Tennessee, I've seen those things around. Maybe they're around here too, but those things are like little pellets. Snow pellets represents grapple, and they are often commonly seen around Great Lakes in the fall season. All right, temperature trend. Look at this. Is this not good? I say it's, even though it's going to be raining, we have a good chance to get into the upper 50s, low 60s on Thursday. We do get a pullback Friday, but the weekend, temperature-wise, should be pretty close to normal. Normal's 55, but we'll take 56 not only tomorrow, but Saturday and Sunday as well. Chances of rain still pretty high, but this 80% doesn't speak to the volume or the quantity of rain. 80% chance you'll need the umbrella, but you may not need it throughout the entire day. And I do have some rain coming in on Saturday. I'll explain why. Once this system departs, there's another low that forms off of Savannah and off of Myrtle Beach, so we could have some rain potentially in the Outer Banks on Saturday. I do not think we have rain in the forecast for 757, but it could be very much focused from areas from Duck southward. South of Duck, or Danthe, probably the best chance for some rain Saturday. Watching this cold air is like trying to peg Jello on the wall. It will spin in, it'll spin out. Another look at the upper air pattern shows these contours warming up nicely by Saturday into the 50s. But then you can still see, not far away up here is the really cold air in purple. Then we really get toasty. We haven't even shown you March 4th yet, because my forecast goes out to March 3rd, but it could very well be toasty. Maybe there's some 60s in here. Ooh, I like 60s. Some of you are like, I really like 60s. Let's see if this pattern holds. If that's the case, it'll be nice and warm in hot Atlanta and New Orleans, as these contours show it going up and going back down. Again, not a lot of consistency, but it is going into March. We'll take what we can get. Have multiple sources for information. To grab the free First Warning Weather app NOAA Weather Radio, I'm a big fan of having both because sometimes your phone will lose its charge, and when you lose charge, you lose your information source. So make sure you're getting the information and notifications for where you live when your life important messages, tornado warnings or blizzard warnings. So you're getting notifications via the NOAA Weather Radio. It's a great tool to have as well. It's like a backup. By the way, you can see it's raining right now in places like California. If you're in the military and you're kind of curious and maybe you're homesick, let's just do a little quick check around the country right now. As of about 8:14, we have rain in Northern California and Nevada. We have some rain and snow in the Salt Lake City area. They haven't had a lot of snow this winter. Salt Lake City, I heard that on the radio the other day, so they rely on that for their drinking water. So good for them. They're getting some rain in southern Idaho. A lot of clouds around Wyoming, a couple of sprinkles and showers in Illinois. Looks like it's been snowing in Chicago, a couple of snow showers moving through Michigan at this hour as well. And if we zoom back out, a couple of showers now moving into Kentucky, maybe headed toward Knoxville, Tennessee. If you have some rain in your forecast, looks like it's going to be rather light, at least in the short term. But the clouds in Charleston should be working its way here by 2 o'clock in the morning. Let me show you the next 10 days on the European model. If you're hoping and waiting for more snow, I think we're going to miss this particular go-around. There will be more rain, I think, as we head into, this is tomorrow morning, by Wednesday, Thursday. Then we bring in some Thursday rain, Friday rain, moves down towards South Carolina. There is that one time on Monday. I'm wondering if I could zoom in on this. This is the opportunity Sunday night into Monday where someone says, ooh, that looks good. Can you zoom in a little bit tighter? I want to know where that snow is. This is Monday. So I have drops and flakes. Some of you are like, what does drops and flakes mean? Well, it might be flakes for the eastern shore, might be some rain-snow mix for Cape Charles, and it could be rain for Virginia Beach. Oh, you crazy weatherman, you're just trying to cover all the bases. Well, sometimes weather covers all the bases. Because if I asked you what we had last Sunday, you'd say, well, we had rain, then we had some snow. We had both, right? You can have both in the same day. And you could have snow, mix, rain all on the same day. This is Monday. So when you see my 7-day forecast and I put drops and flakes, this is what I mean, right? It's not going to be a big deal. Might be some nuisance flakes, but that would be what would happen potentially on Monday based on the European model. So Delaware, Salisbury, basically Exmoor might even get some snow in Middlesex or Matthews County. Some areas may get some snow. But is it a big deal? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm going to zoom back out just because I'm not done playing this animation, but if we play it through, you can see that even then it changes back to rain on the following day, and then there's some rain more going right through the 6th of March, and it's rain, rain, fill the screen. It's basically going to be the way it ends up. All right, so we've already covered the temperatures. 35 in Norfolk is our current reading. It's 31 in Beckley, 41 in Charlotte, 36 in Washington, D.C. I mentioned the cold air that comes down from Canada. Well, it's sub-zero, as you kind of expect that, but it's not like negative 17 like it was in Fort Severn last night. Roughly that cold, but it's negative 6 there, negative 8 in Lynn Lake Airport. So the cold air is bottled up in Canada, and some of it comes down modified at times. Our dew points have dropped, very dry, great chapstick night, maybe a little bit of lotion on your knuckles when you got dew points in the teens. But if you follow the Blue Highway all the way down from Canada, it's that white area of the Arctic that you just really start to shiver. And some of that may work its way down to New York State and into Maine, but you can see we're getting to the point in time of the calendar where most of the cold air is headed in this direction, right? And so we're going to we'll bypass some of it, but it could drop our temperatures accordingly. In fact, the latest climate prediction model that supercomputers have projected is near normal for us in the 757 and Northeast North Carolina. So why be normal? Normal high is 35 this time of year. Normal low is 37. So the above normal temperatures will continue Texas out west to Arizona, and below normal will continue in Maine. So we're kind of caught in the middle, but being in the middle is not a bad place, all things considered. This is the 6 to 10 day outlook through March the 6th. All right, going to wrap things up here. The Eastern Shore expecting 40s for Chincoteague, 47. Onancock, 50. I've got a great picture of Onancock coming up from one of our photographers in the WTKR Photographers Facebook group. Exmoor, 50 tomorrow. Cape Charles, about 49. Should easily make the 50s, mid-50s for Kill Devil Hills and Nags Head, 55 for Manio, and down toward Rodanthe, 57. Ocracoke, about 54 degrees tomorrow. We've already covered this, but I just got, again, joining us late, we have some thin spots in the clouds at 11, but 3 hours later, it all comes back. So 2 a.m. Wednesday, right through the morning drive tomorrow, you'll find a plethora of clouds. Lots of clouds tomorrow morning, and maybe a spot of rain like you see illustrated here, maybe not far from Newport News, or maybe Smithfield might get a sprinkle at 8 o'clock in the morning. But that's short-lived. By the afternoon, we start to maybe see some thin spots. Should be making it up to about 56 degrees. Now, the bigger picture shows this little strong front that comes in through Tennessee, brings rain there, rain, then the southern system. But once we get into, and I'll stop this here, this is 7 o'clock Friday, the energy associated with this low, I think, is going to bring some of this rain up along the Outer Banks on Saturday. I did put a 30% chance of rain on Saturday for mainly North Carolina. I just don't think it's going to have that much of an influence, if at all, on the 757. It's going to be mainly confined south of maybe Duck or Rodanthe. We'll see. Wednesday morning, though, we're in the mid-30s. Temperatures may actually rise from where they are right now once the clouds build back in. 32 for Ahoske's low, 33 for Gloucester. A shout out to Cape Charles, 34. Virginia Beach, about 33. I have us about 28 for Melfa, 33 for Moyock, and 32 for Murfreesboro. Tomorrow night, we have a Norfolk Admirals game. They're taking on the Gargoyles of Greensboro. So if you like hockey on a Wednesday, tomorrow night is your night. I have us in the low to mid 50s tomorrow with some partly sunny skies. 57 for Portsmouth. A shout out to Edenton and Windsor, both at 60 tomorrow. Wouldn't that be nice? And 53 for Duck. Elizabeth City, the Harbor of Hospitality, about 58. Moyock, 58, and 58 for Smithfield and Cortland come tomorrow morning. Here's your first warning. WTKR News 370 forecast. Warmest day of the week clearly is, in fact, Thursday. But Friday, we get a pullback as showers could linger. I like that word. It does describe what we may see lingering in some locales, but mainly North Carolina here, and the drops and flakes, I could not have shown you a better picture than the one I did, which really suggests it's snowing in maybe the Eastern Shore and in Matthews and Gloucester areas, the peninsulas, and maybe more rain for Virginia Beach. And some communities like Newport News might be in the rain-snow mix. But we'll wait and see. It's nothing to get too excited about because overnight lows are not below freezing. They weren't, I think, below 33 or 34 for lows on Sunday when it snowed rather hard. It turned to slush. So this situation we'll keep an eye on, but I don't think it's to be of anything of concern. And then a few showers possible on Tuesday. I think we'll see, given the trend I'm seeing in the upper air pattern, Wednesday should be very, very warm. Maybe, just maybe, we could see some highs in the 60s. Wouldn't that be cool? I want to end with some happy shots. I mentioned Portsmouth. I mentioned Onancock. I believe that's next, but this looks better on the full screen. I'll take this so you can see. It just kind of reminds you why we live here, why it's so beautiful. But this came by way of George Everett. On Monday evening, captured the glow on the horizon. This is from Joan Johnson of Onancock. Monday evening, looked like it was on fire. It was on fuego, right? In fuego, we got a lot of color there. And lastly, in Virginia Beach on the Chesapeake Bay side, Mike captured this on Monday evening with the sailboat in the foreground. So very artistic. Love these pictures. You can find them and many, many more on our WTKR Photographers Facebook group, which you can check out even if you just want to watch them and look at these great pictures. By the way, I mentioned the clouds might be thinning now, but they'll come back. But in the meantime, 56 tomorrow, 61 Thursday, and 50 on Friday. Did I mention? I hope I did. I'm always wanting to give you the best deal I can give you. And when I hear words like WTKR 50, that's coming by way of our sponsor. You can get 50% off anything you want to order. And it could be a dessert. Maybe it's a Greek salad. Maybe it's cauliflower crust. You know, if it's gluten friendly, that's a big thing too. But you can get half off your pizza. That means if the pizza's $10, well, or even $20, it's $10. You get half off. You don't have to clip a coupon. Just use the promo code WTKR50, and that's good through Saturday. So if pizza night is Friday or pizza night is Saturday, it'll work as well on those 6 stores I mentioned. Virginia Beach, there's 3 of them in the 757 that's participating in this contest. We're going to announce the winners on Thursday. So if you want the additional 50% off and just make it 100% off, you could win the big pizza for the week. We're going to give away individual pizzas on Thursday, 10 of them actually. But I believe we've got, the promo code. The pizza for a year certificate looks like this, but we'll announce that on Thursday. But if there's something like a Pozzoli you haven't tried before, or a Magnifico, which is the old style cup pepperoni, I think you'll be impressed. But satisfy your appetite. Go to WTKR.com/Marcos. Just takes about a minute or 2 to sign up so we can know where to mail you the certificate. Again, we're not sending a pizza in by way of the live stream. We're sending you a certificate in the mail. You just have to get in the drawing, and we'll put your name in. It'll come out randomly, and we'll announce that Thursday. Anyway, thank you for you. Just remember, we're going to give away 10 individual pizzas on Thursday as well. So that's part of the fun that we like to do on our live stream. All right, so just remember, it doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or serious. It doesn't matter if it's gloomy or stormy. Just remember that every day is a gift. We can't change today because it's dark and today's over. And we can't even change yesterday, but boy, we can change tomorrow. And you can make it better in your neighborhood. It really is kind of that easy when you have a limited choice. You can only focus on tomorrow because it's going to be here before you know it. Just remember, make the best of it in your neighborhood. We'll see you here tomorrow night. Take care.